Have you ever really, truly stopped to wonder what you are? I'm not talking about your job or your name. I mean, the fundamental stuff you're made of. It's this massive philosophical puzzle, and honestly, the answer might just decide your ultimate fate. So let's dive in and break it down, piece by piece. This is the big one, isn't it? Is there life after death? People have been wrestling with this question for, well, forever. But what if I told you that, to a philosopher, this very question is kind of a logical trap? What if it's a question that's set up to fail right from the get-go? The philosopher Shelley Kagan has this brilliant way of looking at it. He says asking about life after death, it's a lot like asking, so, what happens in the movie after the movie ends? It sounds all deep and mysterious, but if you listen closely, the answer is kind of already baked right into the words themselves. All right, so let's dig into this first major hurdle. Why is it that this huge, profound question that has fascinated humanity for centuries might actually be kind of silly? Well, the whole problem really starts with a super simple definition. If we just use the word death the way we all do in everyday life, what does it mean? It means the end of life, the point where living stops. Seems pretty straightforward, right? And this is where we see the logical knot we've tied for ourselves. See, if death is the end of life, by definition, then asking, is there life after death, is really just asking, is there life after the end of life? And when you phrase it like that, well, the answer seems painfully obvious, doesn't it? Of course not. Shelley Kagan tells this great old joke that just perfectly nails this point. You get all caught up in the details, should they be buried in Canada or the US, but you completely miss the trick in the wording. You don't bury survivors. The word itself makes the question absurd. It's the same kind of trap. But okay, here is where things get really interesting. Philosophers don't just throw up their hands and give up. Nope, they rescue the question by getting incredibly precise about what they actually mean by death. So, here's the crucial move they make. They shift the whole conversation away from the vague concept of death to the very specific event of bodily death. We're not talking about some abstract idea anymore. We're talking about a concrete physical process, a sequence of events that a biologist could literally watch happen and describe in a lab. Let's just picture how this sequence unfolds. We can call it the B sequence for bodily death. It kicks off with some cause, B1. That leads to B2, the heart stops, circulation ends. Then B3, the brain is starved of oxygen, and it continues step by step until that final stage, BN, where the breakdown is permanent and irreversible. That whole chain of physical events, that is what philosophers mean by bodily death. And now we have a real question on our hands, a question that isn't a trick. By carefully separating the idea of you from the idea of your body, we can finally ask something meaningful. After that whole physical process of bodily death is totally complete, is it even possible that you, whatever you are, could still exist? You see how this rescued question immediately pushes us into an even deeper mystery? Because to figure out if you can survive your body's death, we have to tackle the most fundamental question of all. What are you, really? The entire debate now pivots on this one point. It's all about what you are fundamentally made of. What are your core components? The answer to can you survive is completely dependent on the answer to what are you? So in philosophy, two major theories have really stepped up to answer this. They're the two biggest contenders, and they paint completely different pictures of what it means to be a person. And here they are, side by side. On one side, you've got dualism. It says a person is made of two different things, a physical body and a non-physical soul. On the other side, you've got physicalism. It says a person is just one thing, a physical body. That's the whole shebang. So let's look a little closer at dualism first. This view says you are two separate parts. You have this physical machine, right? Your body. But you also have something else, something non-physical, a soul. And this soul is where you really live. It's the home of your consciousness, your thoughts, your personality. They're two totally distinct things that just happen to interact all the time. Okay, now for the physicalist view. This idea says there's no ghost in the machine. You are the machine. But, and this is so important, that doesn't mean a person is just a lump of matter. The physicalist believes that a person is an unbelievably complex and absolutely amazing material thing, a thing that's capable of everything we think of as being human. Thinking, feeling, writing poetry, falling in love, having dreams. All right, so let's follow the logic here.
If we say dualism is correct, what does that mean for our big question about surviving bodily death? Well, as you can probably guess, it opens up a pretty big door of possibility.
Now, here's a really crucial detail. For the dualist's hope of survival to even have a chance, they can't just say a person is a combo of body and soul. Why not? Well, think about it. If you destroy one part of a combination, the whole combination is gone. So they have to make a much stronger claim. They have to say, strictly speaking, I am my soul. I just happen to be very, very tightly connected to this particular body for a little while.
A really simple analogy makes this crystal clear. Just think of your body as a house that you're living in. Now, you're obviously very connected to your house, right? But if the house were to burn down, you wouldn't be destroyed along with it. The person living inside could, at least in theory, walk away and keep existing. That right there is the core of the dualist's hope for survival. But wait, it's not quite that simple. Even if we totally buy into this idea that you are a soul living in a body, that doesn't automatically mean you survive. There's still another philosophical hurdle we've got to clear.
Remember that key detail? Dualists say the body and soul interact. A pinprick to the body causes pain in the soul, right? Well, that causal link could be a two-way street. It is at least logically possible that the incredibly violent and traumatic process of bodily death could trigger a parallel destructive process in the soul, causing it to be destroyed too. The destruction of the house could, in fact, cause the death of the person inside. So, after all of this, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with a fundamental choice. The question of life after death isn't really about ghosts or spooky stories. It's about the very nature of what you are. It all boils down to what you believe a person truly is. So which is it? Is that you that's listening to my voice right now, an immaterial soul, an immortal passenger in a physical vehicle that just might carry on after the vehicle breaks down for good? Or are you the vehicle itself, an astonishingly complex biological machine? Is your consciousness the most incredible, the most beautiful, and maybe the most temporary trick that matter has ever learned how to perform? The puzzle is now yours to think about.